Chapter 5. I am no man.
This is no man.
Love the title on this one, Brett. This is Pappy with Chapter 5. I have the shortest section, the timestamps God bless me with, but
so meaty.
An action-packed, thick, meaty boy of a section. So we'll jump right into it. I'm going to make an executive decision here because there's like really an A story and a B story in this chapter, and Frodo B story doesn't get much love. Yeah, so Brett, I did want to come to you. Get us updated on where we were with Shelob, Frodo, Sam. What's happening there?
So, let's see. Frodo had gotten away, and I think is this the one where he had just fought and thrown
Gollum takes a
Smeagol?
tumble?
Yeah. So he's he's spying this tower that he's trying to get up to. He's trying to sneak up to it. And he sees Mountain Doom in the background. And then Shelob just... Don't know why she felt the need to go stealthy.
She's a spider.
Because, one-on-one out in the open, she probably has got quite the advantage. But I think they wanted to make it as creepy for me as possible. And she creeps up and she stabs... She stabs him.
That's what it is, Brent. Peter Jackson has heard about you. You specifically. And he made this scene for you.
There's a young boy named Britt in America. He's very scared of spiders.
Actually, Tolkien wrote it for you so Peter Jackson could adapt it.
Tolkien was scared of spiders.
I think this is one of the best sound effects in the entire movie. You can feel the puncture when it's like...
Oh, yeah.
Zoop.
Yeah, it's good.
Zoop? That's what you went with?
It's on the script, all right, guys?
Zoop. It's a good thing you don't write comics, sir.
How would you describe it, Mikey? Mr. Smartman?
Maybe like...
It's a thwip.
I don't know. Certainly not Zoop.
I kind of like Zoop.
Mikey's still he's got some of that feisty energy he had the last episode. He's still fuming.
Mikey has post-work rage. I have it every day, too.
Post-work rage. I'm like, I literally walked in the door and then I'm getting hounded by these animals in this podcast. It's like, I can't even crack open this beer yet before I'm just getting hounded.
If you want a beer, you need to get here on time.
Mikey, please crack the beer open into the mic for the listeners at home.
Well, I'll have to crack open the other one.
Give that beer a big zoop.
I have on standby.
Let me get my third.
He just shotgunned one.
Right.
Now he needs to do the second one, okay?
Oh,
There we
that's
go.
a soundboard
Oh,
effect
love
right
it.
there.
Hey.
Stevie, I want to talk to you about Sam, though. Sam really kind of drops the ball here. I know he takes out the spider, but why does he not pull Frodo into the shadows with him? Or at least go for the ring or something? Not that we see, right?
Is Sam, deathly afraid of orcs? Is that just, his thing?
I think you have to remember that he hasn't eaten in probably a while, and he's
Hasn't lost
tired.
a pound.
He picked up all that extra bread at the bottom
Oh,
of the
you
cliff,
know he
so-
inhaled that.
No, he just squished it in his hand like an idiot so angrily. No, eat that.
No, but, I mean... I feel like Sam... I don't know... Part of me always felt like, even when I saw it in the theaters, part of me always felt like, with the size of that those orcs are, in his, hangry rage, because he has low blood sugar, he hasn't eaten in a while, that he, would have gone after those orcs, as they were carrying Frodo. But, nonetheless, he cowers away from the orcs. And that's how
I think
we get
he made the right decision.
Well, didn't he think he was dead?
Yes, thank you, Mikey. They answered it in the movie. He thought he was dead, so got to move on.
Well, was he going to go after the ring, you think? Or was it just like the orc scored him off before he could grab it? Because he kind of made no attempt to grab the ring.
He has the ring.
I don't know if he was thinking about it.
It's still the body of his best friend. I think you wouldn't want that to be desecrated by orcs.
Yeah, I don't care. My body's useless. Throw me in the trash.
Is this not the moment when he takes the ring?
I thought he
was
took
under
the ring
impression
there.
It was.
Oh, does he?
He does, but it doesn't happen on camera, I don't think, does it? Do we see it?
The old switcheroo.
No, it is an
remember.
intentional misdirect.
Yeah.
Right? So we're led to believe the orcs now have it, because they have Frodo's corpse.
But I like to think that Sam has learned a lesson from Smeagol a little bit here, as ironic as that may be. But that's why he's not just charging out there. He's staying in the shadows and being a creepy little bastard. It's great. You love to see it.
Stealth.
You do love to see it, but let's get into the good part of the story here, Josh.
Wait, I want to know something real quick.
Please, yeah.
Brett, so Frodo is rescued by Sam. Sam shows up with a sword. He's got a flashlight in the other hand. Would you rescue anyone in that way? Like Brittany, your brother, anyone? Would you do this?
That's
Would you
Drew.
pull a Sam and fight the spider?
Yes.
Would you do it for me?
Nope.
Yeah, now be specific. Now tell us who.
How many?
I'd probably save.
Probably.
I'd probably save most of you guys.
All right, we can leave it at that. I think we know that Josh is out.
Does Brett have a gun, or is it the sword?
If I got my 45, it's over.
If you're arrogant and stubborn, you're out for sure.
I always thought I'd die by spider. It's all right.
No. I'd save you guys, I guess.
Brett, I know you'd save me, but Josh, I gotta save face here a little bit. I was wrong, and I came at you pretty hard. I think the last 2 weeks now because you were saying Pippin might have a little crush, or sorry, Merry might have a little crush on Eowyn. I was wrong. You were right. He's like, you're pretty. Go ahead.
You can apologize to me too, Pap.
Nah, that's okay. Josh.
Still put Pippin, even though it says Mary right above it.
Dude, they're the same person. I can't. The exact same things happen to them even in this chapter.
Yes, both guys.
Yeah.
Drive shaft.
I'm very curious though, Pap. What sent you over the edge? What specific instance in this section?
This part here where they're like getting ready for battle, he's like, you are fair and lots of guys would be lucky to be with you, but I'm just a small little hobbit. You know, like he's, I don't know, selling himself short. He seems to clearly be crushing on her, obviously.
She always has him ride in front.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, does that mean something?
Yeah, that's all I had to go.
I'm not even sure what that would look like the opposite way. It seems way more dangerous. She just holding him like a little teddy bear.
Well, they probably tried that once and she got uncomfortable.
Stevie, GROND breaks through the gate. Does that make you uncomfortable, that penetration?
Okay, so it's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie because, I mean, is GROND where Gandalf is like taking everybody to the gates and telling them like, hey, you're going to be just fine?
Yeah, he's saying whatever comes through there, we'll fight.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite parts because you kind of see Gandalf's life flash before his eyes because he's seen trolls and he's seen warriors in armor, but he's never seen a warrior troll in armor. And the look he gives everybody is just pure fear, and I love it.
You're soldiers of Gondor. No matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.
It would have been hilarious if, like, he's like, you are soldiers of Gondor, right? And then he immediately turns around and runs away.
Books it. It's like, you got this.
He's like, oh shit, I'm not prepared for this.
Jordan, Denethor, losing his mind. How do we feel about Denethor?
It seems like the first thing that struck me is that it's crazy how he and his his crew that are carrying Faramir are so far away that it's like eerily quiet around them. Like they're so far from the battle, which is fucked up that he's like not taking part at all. But also, does he have a little bit of like an oil like slippery kink? He's like getting it all up in his face. Yeah, just it's a little much for me. I don't know.
Pouring the oil on his face was like a sexual, like he gets a little sexual thrill out of that moment.
I think he gets a sexual thrill out of all of this. It's very odd. Maybe this is solved by book readers, but is he about to get burnt with Faramir? Because he pours the oil all over both of them.
Yeah, he's gonna kill Faramir and himself.
He says it in the movie a little bit, something like they're not gonna get a full-on burial. They're not going to get an embalming. They're pretty much just going to...
Like the heathen kings.
He wants their line to die out.
I thought that's what he was saying, and it's just he's the fucking worst.
He's gone cuckoo.
I love the idea that the soldiers that are there to light him on fire are just like, hey, we're just taking orders, pal.
They were just following orders.
Well, yeah, one of them ends up giving like his trident to Gandalf, essentially. But also, when he finally does get lit on fire, and sorry, Pap, it's skipping ahead, but if we're going story by story.
Let's go story by story, because I feel like there's a decent amount with Denethor to talk about here.
So, and again, maybe it's jumping too far ahead, but when he eventually like runs to his death, it feels like he's like running out of the doors. Like at first, it feels like he's running out of the doors and he must like fall off the ledge as I'm thinking back on the first time I saw it. But that's like a 200-meter dash to go to that fucking cliff. That's a far way to stay on fire and to also like lose none of your momentum. Like I'm at a dead fucking sprint, old man.
He collapses on the white tree and just burns it down.
He basically runs across all of Gondor.
Yeah.
It's a great shot, though, when you get to see him fall.
It is.
One of the
It
best.
is. It's just far.
Yeah, big sense of scale in that shot, because then it zooms way out and you see just
He
how
is
far
a
he's falling.
speck.
It's pretty
Look
cool.
how far you have fallen.
I don't want to brush over the Denethor. Look, you messed up here, Brett. Denethor sets funeral pyre, relieves Merry from his service. Isn't it Pippin from his service?
Merry.
What?
Pippin. I don't know. They're the same person.
It's definitely Pippin here in Gondor, but
Yeah, probably.
I want to give Denethor some credit. The way he just tosses Pippin out of his service and Pippin rolls and hits the deck. I love that shot. It just pops up. It looks really cool. Anything else on Denethor though? I mean, like he dies. We can talk about the staff thing later. Why Gandalf doesn't have a staff here?
Pap, what's that called? What you described? It's called a Texas something, like a Texas switch. Like the stuntman does something, then the actor like comes into frame.
I thought the Texas switch is when a hobbit rides in front of a woman on a horse. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I think that's what they do. They throw like a stuntman on a like on pretty much like a mattress, and then Pippin will pop into frame.
Pippin's just laying there.
Yep.
And like actually pops up.
Yep, that's it.
But also, the way Denethor drags him out looks exactly like what Dalton would do at the Roadhouse on a Tuesday night to just some teenage scum. Just casual as hell. Yeah, be nice first.
Be nice. Come on, man. What if that kid? Someone calls me a cocksucker. Yeah.
Mikey, at this point, how is... No, we're leaving that in, for sure. Mikey, at this point,
Asher.
how is the battle for Gondor going in general? How are the men doing?
I mean, every shot we see of a human man, they look pretty terrified and on the verge of pooping their pants. But for good reason, because these orcs have these giant trolls. They got the ladder thing, and then the Oliphants are coming. There's lots of stuff going on, and these guys are just pretty much overwhelmed, and they're getting... Like, all of their defenses are pretty much getting torn down very easily.
The whole time Pippin is, like, running down to get Gandalf. Like, the whole army's running in the opposite direction. Like, away from the battle. He's like a salmon fighting it upstream. Brett, do you have strong feelings about the added scene here in the extended edition, the confrontation between the Witch King and Gandalf? It seems to be a very divisive topic.
I don't know if it's divisive at all. I mean, okay, first of all, it looks cool, and I get why it was put in, but it's kind of like a slap in the face. I mean, because, like, I don't know. I think they could have done... Well, if they would have done what happened in the book, then Stevie wouldn't have gotten his cool part that he liked with GROND coming through. But... I don't know. I think what happened in the book is like really cool compared to this, but
give us a lowdown.
Yeah.
So like they're breaking the door down with GROND, and Witch King's like helping it happen, like, and then they bust through and they see the Witch King, and literally everyone runs except for Gandalf, who is literally just sitting there on Shadowfax, just staring at Witch King, and he's like, you can't come in here. He says, you cannot enter here. He says, go back to the abyss prepared for you. Go back, fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your master. Go. And then the Witch King says, old fool, this is my hour. You do not know death when you see it. Die now and curse in vain. And Gandalf's literally still sitting there staring at him, not even remotely scared of him. And they're about to fight. Witch King pulls his sword out, which starts on fire, kind of like in the movie. And then the horn of Rohan goes off, and Witch King looks around, and he leaves to go fight in the battle. So they don't. That's the closest they get, other than on Weathertop, back towards the beginning, that they actually ever meet each other. But so they don't fight, and as I said, I alluded to a little bit last week, and Corey might be able to back me up. Witch King does not have anything for Gandalf. He would not be able to, and even actually, I believe in the book, Sauron gave Witch King a little extra power for this battle, but Gandalf would not be scared or be in any real trouble against someone like the Witch King, because he is still kind of a man-ish, so that's it. Other than that, I mean, it looks cool, I guess. It's kind of like a slap in the face, I guess, because it's not really realistic, but it looks cool.
My bigger problem with it isn't the power level thing. It's more of that the Witch King has Gandalf dead to rights, and then he just flies away at that point.
Yes.
That's really stupid. That's really fucking stupid.
It's almost like they couldn't go anywhere because of what was, set up in the book. But, it's pretty dumb. It's probably a good idea that they took it out for the theatrical. But yeah, that's definitely one of the top things that book lovers hate.
Book lover Corey, how do you feel?
So from what I remember from the book, it's just like Brett described, where it's kind of like a showdown, right? You got the Witch King on one end, Gandalf on the other end, and they're both talking to each other. Yeah. And I don't think it says explicitly that the Witch King then just leaves, but I think the chapter ends and then it changes perspective to Rohan or something. So you don't really get told what happens during that confrontation, which is also a letdown in the book, right? So there's a little bit of a letdown carryover from the book to the movie, I think, in this case. In terms of seeing the Witch King break Gandalf's staff, I think it's pretty fucking cool to see. I'm not mad at it or anything. I think it's cool to see the higher level beings of this battle meet each other, which you only get in the extended version in this way, and then actually use some of their power against each other to a degree. I think we only saw that in the a few episodes back when Gandalf kind of shone his light and they scattered. I think it's pretty cool, although it does suck that our main guy Gandalf, he's the one we're all rooting for. He's the one with the most power on this side of men here, and he kind of does get punked. You don't like to see it, but you know what? It's okay, because our heroes get the last laugh, don't they?
Additionally, I think that Stevie likes to talk about darkest hour moments, and I think Peter Jackson was trying really hard to have at least two darkest hour moments in this film.
They're screwed.
Both kings are on death's doorstep. The white staff is broken, and these fell beasts are just taking out chunks of the army at will at a time. It looks pretty bad out there.
But Gandalf and Pippin get another darkest hour moment 5 minutes later with the whole "what is death like" speech, and that's way, way better of a darkest hour moment. The only reason I'm so interested in this scene is I've watched all of the commentary up to these three movies for now, and it's Peter Jackson, Philippa Boyens, and Fran Walsh, so the three writers and Peter Jackson. But the two women were shocked that the scene was in the extended edition. Peter Jackson didn't tell them. Stevie, you're a big college football fan, right?
I am.
How would you rate this pregame speech that we get for the Army of Rohan?
Oh, this is a 10 out of 10.
10 out of freaking 10.
I mean, I know Mikey hates, Theoden, the great horse king, But he nails this because he's been a pretty cowardly bitch for like almost 2 movies now. And just hearing him like getting the folks jacked, like, hey, we're probably going to die, but we're going to die the way we want to, on horses.
Under a horse.
I absolutely love this speech. I love the music and the build-up. It gets me pretty jacked hearing everybody scream death. It's just a really awesome shot. And then the pullback shot of like over the hill, seeing how many Rohirrim are actually there. And like when the sun coming up, it's a really, really cool scene.
Awesome.
Right now! Right now! Right! Right for ruin and the world and death!
It's my favorite scene. It's my favorite part of the whole movie. That speech. Like, I get goosebumps every time the whole speech starts. And then when he's like screaming death, that gets me every freaking time.
Fuck yeah.
It's so good.
And also, the smart thing that Peter Jackson did, you really don't think about it, but the fact that he put it in there was kind of like the slow roll of the horses kind of getting momentum and just building up and building up. That's an incredibly smart way to shoot that. Even with CGI involved, to practically shoot it as the horses kind of slow rolling it was really, really smart.
Mikey, you weren't moved by the Theoden speech?
It's all right. No, this is definitely his best part for sure. I just feel like fighting back then, you have to go into it as a fucking crazy person because you're dying. you're not coming out of a war like that unscarred. So it's just like it's a great rally the troops type of speech, and I think it's pretty effective. And I like when he's slapping the swords riding by. That's awesome.
Slap hands.
Mikey, do you think if the king is going by and slapping his swords on everyone's pole, doesn't that like dull the fuck out of his sword? Isn't he
he's got a bunch
weakened?
of dings in his...
Yeah. They've been sharpening that shit for so long, and then he goes through and like slaps it on a bunch of shit to dull it down.
Isn't it wood?
I don't know. I mean, those are wood, but if you slap 1,000...
Slap 1,000
Think about
swords.
The thing about sword fighting is even if you have a dull blade, you're still fucking dying if you get hit by a sword.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I guess we did see Gandalf slap an orc with a sword and not even like pierce his skin, but he still died. I don't know.
Whoa. They need those swords to slice the tendons of the oliphants as they ride by.
Yeah,
They gotta
thin
be
high,
sharp.
bro. Thin
Poor
high.
Oliphants. They did not do anything wrong. They do not deserve their fate.
I heard there's a deleted scene here with Theoden.
Theoden.
Oh,
I heard there's a deleted scene with Theoden where he says something like, arise, riders of Theoden. And then under his breath, he mumbles, even though they weren't fucking around during the Westfold. And then he goes on with the rest of his speech.
He does that whole thing that he goes, psych, and then they go back to Rohan. They're like,
Fuck
And then they
off.
just scream death at each other for a while, like the heaviest metal concert of all time.
they're like just talking crap to Gondor. They're like, death, that's what you're going to get. Where we get the Westfold. Yeah, that would have been really funny.
Part of me does feel like, though, during the kind of ride down the hill, was Peter Jackson or the editor was scrambling to figure out how to piece this together because there was so much footage, and they just kept landing on cool shot of Éomer. Let's go to some other random things. Cool shot of Éomer. So part of me just feels like they tried to stitch that together as best they could.
But Éomer is so cool.
Dude, when he flicks up
so
that spear,
cool.
I get...
Exactly.
It's really cool.
The look in his eyes, he looks crazy. Last note I had on the spear tip, apparently that was like a game time decision by the actor, Bernard Hill, that he's like, hey, what if I just slapped all these guys' spears, like right before the shot? And Peter Jackson's like, yeah, go for it. And it looks awesome. Very,
slapping spears, baby.
yeah, he just wanted to slap some spears. But like that, it's, I guess he was, he's left-handed. So he's like, Peter Jackson's like, yeah, great idea, ride towards the camera that way. He's like, oh shit, like it's just my right hand. So he's like trying to hold on for like dear life, like during that shot. But yeah, looks amazing. Corey, the battle's going pretty well at this point until what happens?
Yeah, so I mean, you get the heroes, Gondor. They get the help from the Rohirrim show up, and then it's kind of like the battle's turned around a little bit, or at least it seems that way from the perspective of outside of the castle, until the fucking Oliphants show up. And so it seems like the orcs aren't alone. They have the help of wicked men from the Middle East. And
just the East.
Wicked men from the East. Whatever.
There we go.
And, Pappy, I know how it feels to be winning a match like this, and then all of a sudden, the Persians show up with their fucking war elephants.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
in Age of Empires 2.
He hit Xerxes right in the chest with that spear.
So yes, I've been there. I hate seeing fucking war elephants. They piss me off. I never play Persians. Super annoying. But we do get to see one particular evil man of the East or whatever. I think they're called the Haradrim. But we see one guy that Eomer just fucking kills, and then they start taking some of them out. And you talked about the spear throw, but I love it. Like, he chucks that spear like Achilles, and he fucking...
I thought the same thing.
He takes out that one, like, Xerxes-ass-looking motherfucker. So, that's a good moment.
It's not
Reminds
him,
me of
though.
300, too.
He's perfectly cast. He looks like straight out of Mad Max, that guy up there.
Yeah. Like an 80s German club guy.
If only there was an elf who could climb up the Oliphants in CGI
Yeah, oh yeah.
and solve all our problems. I guess we'll have to tune in next
And
week.
then Nolly fake side kickflip
Oh, yeah.
down his
He
trunk.
goes up Nolly, comes down Goofy. Yeah, he definitely kills it.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. Total combo breaker.
I'm curious, Brett, were you sincere at all when you said a second ago that the Oliphants did nothing wrong? Because that was another interesting note from the...
They're not making their own decisions.
Right.
It's sad. I think it's really sad.
So apparently in test screenings it was like way more sad, and they had to remove a bunch of footage that still didn't even make the extended cut. Like one of the Oliphants gets like shot in the eye and gets scared and starts running around, and they took all that out.
Yeah, my wife would
God.
not have liked that. Like I didn't like the ear thing. The spear was cool, but then when it falls down and like grabs the ear and then he serial crushes the other one.
What about when Legolas executes an
We'll
elephant
get to
from
that.
3
up
dots,
top?
bro. 3 dots.
We'll get to that.
Oh, boy.
Tune in next week.
Hey, Pap, can I say something?
Go ahead, Stevie.
I'm glad you brought up Mad Max, because the Oliphants and that guy, especially that gets speared, like reminds me, like you said, straight out of a Mad Max. But even like Mad Max 2.
Witness me!
But I just think there's something comforting in seeing a guy come on screen who has no dialogue, and I instantly know that he's evil as hell. Like, there's just something comforting in not knowing that, like, the depth of a villain. It's like, this is a secondary villain who has no dialogue, and just by, like, the look in his eyes of what the Oliphants are doing,
He's got those crazy eyes, man.
it's comforting knowing, okay, that's my bad guy. I want him to die. Like, that's just, there's something comforting in that.
Nothing redeemable.
Is he even secondary? He's more like a tertiary villain. Like Gothmog's a secondary. This guy doesn't even
But
talk
I like
at
this
all,
guy more
but
than Gothmog. I
get
mean, he
it.
does more than Gothmog. Like,
He looks so
Gothmog like
funny.
moves out of the way of a rock. This guy is like killing Rohirrim by the dozens.
This guy thinks he's so fucking badass. And, he does
He is,
take
though.
out a lot of motherfuckers. Those Oliphants, they just mow the
Oh, yeah.
soldiers down.
When they first come in, the first time you see him, and like the one in the front shakes swings his head, and the people go flying at, looks so cool. I mean, yeah, it's CGI, but
He's got 200 confirmed kills.
When Theoden sees them show up, he looks pissed. Like, he doesn't look scared. He looks pissed. He's like, all right, fuck these motherfuckers. Let's charge them.
faded, yeah, because he's like super pumped because they just turned the tide, and then he's like, oh, come on.
The Oliphants, some of them have like lawnmower blades between their like tusks, and they're just running people down with them. It's absolutely crazy.
Boromir died of like 8 arrows. These Oliphants have thousands. They're like pincushions of arrows. It's
Even
an
in their
interesting
weak
touch.
underbelly. Yeah, they're just full of them down there. Josh, we take a break from the battle, though. I wanted to come to you as the holiest member of spoilers, the most spiritual, the Christ-like character of spoilers, some might say. How do you feel about Gandalf's speech, the depiction of the afterlife?
I didn't think it would end this way.
End? No, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path. One that we all must take. The grey rain curtain of this world rolls back, and all turns to silver glass. And then you see it.
What? Gandalf. See what?
White shores. And beyond. The far green country. And to a swift sunrise.
It's a beat, isn't it? It's like we're stepping away from action. This is like the first break we get in 20, 30 minutes, really.
It is, and it seems like they've just done a bunch of cool stuff. So I think the moment hits you hard that it's like, oh, that was cool, but that was just a way for us to succeed to die the next day or something. But what I would focus in on this scene mostly is the acting that Sir Ian McKellen pulls off here. His facial expressions, like, I believe that Ian McKellen had a near-death experience, and he's like drawing back on that when he tells this story. It is crazy. His eyes. You talked about perfect casting a second ago for that tertiary villain. Well, this is perfect casting again for our main man, Gandalf the White.
Mikey, does that speech bring tears to your eyes?
I mean...
Actually, let me rephrase that question. Mikey, what do you think happens to us after we die?
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing in the afterlife. We're just stardust. And
I like how that was the same question, but just different sides of the same coin.
I think there's really good speeches about... I mean, it's like the same as Theoden's war speech. Something about talking about like death and like having no fear going into it is like so hard-hitting. Especially when everything's like kind of falling apart around you. It's like nothing really matters, and when you die, I mean, that's the great rest or whatever is what Gandalf is calling it. He's saying it's a vacation, and who is it, Merry or Pippin? We can never keep him straight, but he's just like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, and he's like at peace or for at least a split second before Gandalf was like, all right, get your sword up.
It's kind of patronizing.
You think it's patronizing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Patreon.com/
Really?
Patronizing?
Well, think about it. I mean, you have a god talking to a halfling, and whenever that god wants, he gets to go party with the elves and drink a shit ton of wine.
Oh, Gandalf knows he's good. He's not afraid.
Yeah, Gandalf's set. Yeah. And Gandalf also knows this little guy is never coming to those lands with him.
He's trying to calm him, though.
Little patronizing.
Is he lying to him? Is that not what's gonna...
I have no idea. He's actually
Let's
died.
just say that not everyone thinks like Mikey, that there's nothing, absolutely nothing, end quote.
Okay, what? Josh is one of these people that believes in religion? What a fucking sucker, okay? What a loser.
I do like, as much as we've gotten their stories confused, the two parallels between the hobbits, right? Like, one is facing death by, like, screaming it, riding a horse with his crush, towards death. The other one's getting this, like, kind of emotional speech from Gandalf. It's a nice little parallel between their two stories. Mikey, you want to come back to you, though. You hate Theoden. How much did you like see him get vomited up as he screams, rally to me? Were you clapping while you watched?
Theoden had made somewhat of a turn with that amazing speech, so I'll give him that, but his actions in the previous 2.5 movies, which equals 8 hours at this point in the extended editions, I cannot back the man up, but he dies, but it's like, that's not even the coolest, or that's not to say it's cool, but it's like not even the part I'm watching for at this moment. This is all about the Witch King fights for me. So, Theoden, Theoden was like never that impactful for me in these movies. Honestly,
Even when he's slapping spears?
well, slapping spears isn't in the extended, is it? Or isn't in the original, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
whole scene is.
Fair.
They're just
fair.
blurred out, the spears.
They replaced them with walkie-talkies in a later cut.
Yeah, I was never get over there. Theoden yelling, "Rally to me!" And the Witch King's like, "Okay, dude," and flies right at him.
Yeah.
And look on Theoden's face.
He does have a really like great face
The
right
oh
before
shit
he gets
look.
taken out. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will hearken all the way back to Fellowship, and I posed this question to Corey. When they were on Weathertop, the Hobbits, and all the, what are they called? The dead kings of men. The
Ringwraiths?
9. Yeah, when
The
the
Ringwraiths.
Ringwraiths are like
Nazgul.
going in after him, they don't give a monologue, but they very slowly go in for the kill to grab the ring. But here, Corey, they don't give that Terminator speech at all. He just rides right in there and rallies. You gotta love it.
Ready to go, man.
He does kind of monologue a little bit when his dragon gets his head cut off, though. Like, just tell the dragon to eat her. Don't tell her not to get in the way.
Don't ruin my full
fish.
circle moment. Corey, that's beautiful, right? It's like poetry.
It is. But, I mean,
Friends.
Pappy, I think what maybe the Witch King is trying to do is specifically aim for Theoden. Like, I think he wants to take out a king.
Yeah, and Theoden's got the bright white horse and stands out like a sore thumb.
That's a parallel, a king to a king.
Oh, yeah, he is an old king, yeah, from a forgotten time or whatever.
Goon to a goblin.
I just listened to that yesterday. Goblin. Nothing.
Do you think in his last moments, Theoden is just like wet dreaming of the Westfold?
Get this goddamn horse off the
Westfold.
He's just trying to save civilization so that he can later sue Gondor for not showing up at the Westfold.
Part of me wishes his last words were just Westfold.
Yeah. His horse's name is Westfold, and he died by being crushed when it fell on him. The Westfold
This man is obsessed.
Talking to Eowyn, he's like, I know your face. You weren't at the Westfold. And then he dies. No, I think he's in a ton of pain.
There's one small scene here, which is another evidence that the extended cut is actually probably not as good as the theatrical cut, where we get the army of the dead showing up on the docks, and we get the orc who has the skull on his head, which is like one of my favorite things. But it's kind of like we've already seen this, right? Like we see the army emerge, and we see the whole scene where they take the boats earlier from the last chapter. In the theatrical cut, this is like the first time that you get to see the army of the dead in action. I think it's just like better not to have that same beat twice.
So which one do you like? You like this one or
I think I like
second
it better,
one.
like a little bit of a delayed effect, right? Like we don't see the army
Yeah.
action until we get to Gondor. It's a better surprise.
yeah?
Why did the army of the dead need to ride in boats? Couldn't they have just?
Yeah. They're ethereal, right?
Couldn't they have just floated there? They phase shift through the terrain.
Why are the orcs there? Why aren't they fighting? I mean, like the people are going to know where the battle is.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Could you imagine if, like, after Aragorn went to that mountain and got the army of the dead, and they got the boats, and like, yeah, we don't know how to sail. We never sailed during life.
I never got my sailing license.
We deserted.
we
Hey, no,
Why do you think we did
we
that?
hate sail.
They're seasick.
can I interject something real quick? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've been thinking about this. I realized after I said it last week that I was wrong. I called the Army of the Dead Numenorians, and that is incorrect. They're actually pre-Numenorians. They're from Dunharrow, so that's I apologize.
Oh,
to
thank
the
God.
You know what they say, the pre-Numenorians are even more potent sometimes.
It might not matter to you, Josh, but I've been thinking about it.
When you guys...
I think they were connected to the Gozerians.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
well, I mean, then
Are you guys saying real words? Are these words that are in?
giant slore.
When there's a movie that you guys think back on and you just like have brief memory impressions of it, I would kind of relate it to, have you guys ever seen those posters where they take like the main color of every movie frame and they blend it from left to right, so you're kind of like seeing the color progress?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my memory of this movie, even though it's not fair, like 60% of that color wheel spectrum would just be like this green color of these pre-Numenorian fuckers that just keep coming back from the dead. Like, why are they so prominent in my memory of this movie? It's not, I don't know. It's not great.
Kind of a letdown.
You don't like the Army of the Dead, Stevie?
I really don't, especially for a movie called Return of the King. And
A lot of kings.
Hey, he returns.
A lot of kings in
And I
Return of the
also,
King.
like, the marketing of this movie was heavily leaned on Aragorn.
He's not in it very much.
He's not in it very much. I don't feel like he accomplishes a whole lot as far as, like, character arc goes. It just, I don't know, this part falls really flat for me, especially coming off, like, the Charge of the Rohirrim, which is, like, I mean, you're really hitting, like, an apex when it comes to, like, battles. And then just to see this, like, the guys come in like ants and swarm the city, it really doesn't work for me.
Just as a thing, though, Stevie, the title character does not necessarily mean it's the main character, so...
That is true,
And-
but...
Like the Last of the Mohicans, he's not the main character, he's a title character. But
I mean, Aragorn's been a heavy lifting character for the first two movies, and I don't feel like he does a whole lot in the third movie, and what he does do doesn't work in the context of the film.
What if... I don't want to, like, talk about the Army of the Dead too much for 3 chapters in a row, because we'll talk about them a little bit more next week. But would it have helped, Stevie, if they had planted the Army of the Dead any earlier, right? Like, maybe...
Yeah, exactly what I was going to ask.
Had some conflict in the first or second movie?
Like, you gotta, if you're gonna do something like that, that has to be in the first movie. Like, or at the very beginning of Two Towers. That's why it feels really shoehorned in this movie.
Even maybe in that opening montage? you know?
That really would have been a great callback.
Just make it so they desert that battle. You know what I mean? Like, and men fleed.
Oh, yeah.
And they were cursed or whatever. That would really help.
I was trying to go more artsy, like they're at that inn at Bree at the bar or whatever, and like Aragorn's going on some rant about these ghost kings that he's all pissed off about or something. But yeah, just showing them leave that battle would be perfect.
Corey, who never plays Persia in Age of Empires.
Hell nah, fuck Persia. All my homies play Teutons.
Also, those elephants are hilarious in that game because their attack is just bashing their skull into the castles or whatever. And just getting taken out. Doesn't make any sense. But why don't you bring us home here? We said the name of this chapter is I Am No Man. Why don't you tell us what that means?
Okay. We're talking about the showdown between the Witch King and Eowyn, right? Eowyn has disguised herself as a soldier named Durnhelm and rode along, and Theoden's all fucked up. You know, he gets like one hit, done, completely like Christopher Reeve paralyzed, fucked up. So,
Whoa,
come on, it's been a while.
Horses.
He needs medicine, my lord.
Here we go.
You need stem cells, my lord.
Peyton Manning treatments, my lord.
So Eowyn does the ballsy thing here and faces off with the Witch King on top of his beast and chops the fucking Nazgul's head off. I think the Nazgul is the word for the monster.
I don't
know if that's completely
don't
accurate.
think that's accurate.
I don't think that's accurate.
That's his name. The
I don't think that's
Nazgul.
really defined ever.
I don't think they have a name. They're like their steeds. I believe the Nazgul and the Ring Wraith are the same thing. They're both the people, but it doesn't matter.
I thought Nazgul were a group of ring wraiths.
So I'll say this. The Nazgul term is only said after the Ring Wraiths are on the beasts. And then they're referred to as Nazgul. I know that's with
That might have
certainty.
been what Peter
so-
Jackson was going for. I'll give you that.
So a Nazgul is like a pod of squids, like a murder of ravens, Stevie? That's what you're saying?
None
It's
of
like-
this is canon. None of this is canon.
Wait, that thing
By
is
the
not
way-
called a Nazgul? Is that what you're saying?
What, the Fell Beast?
I don't believe so, no.
It's up for debate.
Could be, though.
Fell beasts. If you Google what do ring wraiths ride, the answer Google says the fell beasts.
I've been saying fell beast, guys. Just got to listen to
Yeah,
it.
I just thought you were weird, though. I thought you were
Fell beasts.
talking out your ass about something.
Por qué no los dos?
Sorry, Corey. Take us through the showdown.
Let's see. Eowyn chops that fucker's head off, and like for the first time in a while, we see like a ring wraith like kind of like shooken up because he falls off this thing, and he kind of like stumbles off. Like these are not the kind of guys you expect to see like fall down, you know. So to see that happen, it's like, okay, maybe there is a chance against this thing. He's got a wicked weapon, though, right, Brett? I mean, you talked about that mace.
Yeah, and I think Mikey mentioned it a little bit. Like, when it's such a really cool shot where they're like from behind him looking at how freaking scared Eowyn looks. Like, she looks resolute and everything, but she's scared, and then they slowly go down and show that freaking humongous mace. It's so good.
I think, and this is just from my own speculation, he's got a two-handed mace in one hand and a two-handed sword in the other hand.
I have no doubt that that's true.
Oh, yes.
So he has these two giant weapons, and he's like flinging them about. And this is very, book accurate stuff kind of happening here, where Mary shows up and kind of like, cheap shots him in the leg, and that like stuns him, I guess, but it doesn't really kill him, but it does affect him, right? We do see him like fall down because of that. And then Eowyn just sticks him right in the face after giving the big I am no man moment, where the lore is that no man can kill them, but like with all evil creatures in Tolkien and D&D lore, there's always like a loophole, there's always a way to get them. I mean, they can't just be invincible.
He's defeated by the power of semantics.
I like to think it's not the sword to the face, but it's just his, like, he's so, like, conservative, staunch, that he just can't stand the thought of a strong woman, and it just, like, makes his head explode.
You will not vote in this land. You have no rights here.
I am no man.
This scene is only 2 minutes, but this scene lives in my head like rent free. This is of when I think about like of my all time like favorite scenes or deaths or anything. It's just like, I don't know why, but the Witch King is just so badass, and him swinging around that giant mace with his left hand. He's going fakie with that mace, okay? And he is just swinging it around so easily. Maces are terrifying. It's just so scary. It's such a great weapon, and it looks so cool. And of course, his costume design, amazing. He's just a totally intimidating figure.
Yeah, he's scary. I would not want to fuck with this guy ever. Fuck no.
Is Eowyn a warrior in the books?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like legit, like badass, like warrior in the books?
I think so.
Just like in the movie, know? Like, I think her story in the extended version and of the movie is like pretty accurate to the book.
They don't elaborate on it that much, but the people like unanimously decided they wanted her to lead even before like everyone left. Like they freaking loved her. And so it's kind of even more douchey that she left, but hey.
And one other thing, I think, Brett, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, when Eowyn sticks this guy in the face, and that hurts her as well, it hurts her arm. And then later on, when she like recovers, I think she loses the ability to use that arm permanently.
I was thinking it's either permanent or it's going to be like a long recovery, and so does I believe Mary's pretty jacked up too. But yeah, her arm is jacked up for. That's actually where she meets Faramir.
That's her punishment for not giving Mary that reach around on the horse, as we discussed earlier.
Up with Faramir.
Mary can give himself strangers now, though.
I think you're right, or at least really close, Corey. It messes her up for a long time. I don't know if she loses it forever, but I don't think it'll ever be the same.
Yeah, she does end up with Faramir. She gets a consolation prize for all of her hard work.
Prize and quotes.
Here, have this guy.
She ends up like Bob Dole, though.
Stevie, why do you hate Faramir? You were talking mad shit right before we started recording.
I'll get into it in the later episodes as it pertains to the later episodes.
So nothing in this episode.
Nothing in this episode. It has to do with, people riding off to a place and he just chills.
Well, tune in next week for more Lord of the Rings. But any final notes on this chapter? I'll say 3 quick things, since this is going to be my last time hosting a Lord of the Rings podcast. One,
what?
The Blu-ray, we'll see. You never know, I guess. Like the last time of this trilogy.
No, we're not doing The Hobbit.
The commentaries are amazing. Like, they're literally the best commentaries I've ever heard on anything, and I'm not one who's into commentaries, but I've listened to all 3 now at this point, and it's like 10 of 10. Would recommend. Almost as entertaining as the movie. 2, shout out to the video game Battle for Middle-earth. I don't know if anybody else played that game on this podcast.
I think we talked about it before. Yeah, it's a good game.
Love that game. It kind of came out around the same time as Return of the King, so I really associate it with that. And then 3, I know we're not there yet, but it's hard to believe we've done this for 3 years in a row, boys. It seems like just yesterday we were doing our first one, you know? So
Wow.
we still got hours left of this movie, literally, but hey, good job on us. Josh, I think we're ready for trivia now.
And we'll be right back.
I'm gonna get something to drink.
You're only sleeping. What can you see on the horizon? Why do the white gulls call across the sea? A pale moon rises.
So just Tolkien on the streets.
Okay.
It was supposed to be so easy.
Stevie, are you ready for our first quote?
Sure.
Pappy, play that Shire music. Young, bold soldiers, the fire burns, crackles.
I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
All right, maybe we can pick up trivia next week.
No, we're fine.
No.
Just turn the music down.
Turn the music
Right
down.
there.
Pappy.
Young, old soldiers.
Listen.
Better.
Josh, we can hear you now.
I can hear you now, Josh.
Young, bold soldiers, the fire burns, crackles, smolders, 5 years older and wiser.
One more time?
Nope.
Okay. Young bold soldiers, the fire crackles.
I don't think that was it.
Fuck it. Let's go with Tolkien.
That is a Mike Skinner quote from the streets.
All right.
Stevie,
Ooh. Do I
you're
stop
at
playing the
16.
Shire?
Yeah, pretty much after I'm done reading the
Minus
quote,
1.
you can pull that music back. Thanks. Corey, you are up. Are you ready?
Hey, you're welcome for solving your problem, by the way.
Thanks. Corey, are you ready? Here's your roll. Okay. Got your quote ready. And we're going to do that same, we're going to try to do that same Shire music again, if you don't mind, Pat. Better than rain or rippling brook is a mug of beer.
Sounds like something a Hobbit would say.
It is Tolkien. You get a point. You are at 15. The end of that quote is a mug of beer inside this took. So it's like a family saying for those hobbits. They really like the beer.
It probably also helped that I had the Hobbit music going.
Yeah, I think it's all about that.
Hey, you're welcome. You did a great job.
DJ Pappy.
My turn?
Yep, Brett. All right, rolling for Brett. Got his quote. Pappy. We need more Shire
go.
Sing
music.
that shit.
Again. Turn my headphones up.
I'm 45th generation Roman.
Crap. Tolkien?
What you got there, Jordan?
I mean, there's only two choices.
Yeah, it's from the lyrics from Turn the Page
And
by the
that
Streets.
ain't it.
Man, I didn't know if I was going to trick you on.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know if I was going to trick anybody on any of these tonight. So glad to already get a couple in the bag. To be honest, it's really cheering me up. Honestly, you guys, thank you. Jordan, I'm going to roll for you, buddy.
Welcome.
Dang it.
Good brother. Pappy, or whoever it may. Oh, we get the Northern Indiana Josh accent for this one.
No music?
No tunes.
No music. Thank goodness.
Oh.
All right, here you go, Jordan. To the bottle I go to heal my heart and drown my woe.
I've listened to a lot of Mike Skinner, and I don't recognize that. I'm going to go Tolkien.
Yup, it's found within the chapter A Shortcut to Mushrooms. Well done, Jordan. Jordan gets...
First round is 1
yeah,
point.
can you actually keep track of the scores while I go through the quotes and kind of scratch off and on? Thank you.
I am.
Awesome. So you got +1. That puts Pappy towards the back here. I'm going to roll for your quote. I got it. I'm going to roll for your music. Finally. Jordan, can you play that Streets beat for us?
Not too loud.
Yeah, tell me how like far or close to hold it. So I'm going to start close.
I love it when it's loud.
Louder. Louder.
As loud as the phone goes.
That's fine.
Give it to me.
I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness.
Tolkien.
Even though you tried to be tricked, you're right, it's Tolkien.
That was excellent delivery, Josh.
Thank you. Sorry I waited so long.
Stay positive.
Regrettable
I
that
gotta
it...
come in on beat.
Thanks, Mikey. And Mikey, I don't blame you at all. Pulling things on the soundboard's tough. That was a miscommunication. There's a big...
I'm not blaming myself either.
I do.
Who are
Don't
you
get
blaming?
too down on yourself, okay?
I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm totally fine.
I know, man.
Just tell me your stupid fucking trivia and let's keep going.
All right, roll it for Mikey. And we get the Josh Northern Indiana speech. Here's your quote. Mikey. If you use this herb yourself, you might find that smoke blown out cleared your mind of shadows within.
That doesn't rhyme, so I want to say Mike Skinner would make that rhyme somehow. And I know that Hobbit weed is a thing, so I'll say Tolkien?
You got it, buddy.
Okay.
Nice.
Dang, that's a tricky one.
Tolkien, you gotta finish that lyric, bro.
Little couplet.
Yeah.
We may revisit this theme later. I had 3 rounds planned, but we're going to skip that second round and go straight to the third round. It's a little nuts. You guys ready for it?
Sure.
Sure.
Stevie is not thrilled.
You're up
How many
first.
points are here?
No, because I couldn't hear what Josh said at first because Pappy was blaring the music.
Hey,
and I was like, repeat that. And
don't blame me.
Josh was like, nope.
Yeah, Josh was in a bad mood during that first one.
Yeah. You repeat that, Josh? Nope. Okay.
Listen, I'm just trying to DJ over here.
He was mad and he took it out on Stevie. It was kind
Yeah,
of...
and I'm taking it out on Josh.
I'm trying to just be quick at that point. Brett's freaking sleepy, boys.
Nothing is quick with you, Josh.
Jeez.
Just try to stay
This
positive.
is how fucking trivia goes.
Okay, Stevie. I have
This
a
is what
deep-
happens after 5 chapters. It gets contentious. It gets snippy.
This is after like 15 chapters, to be fair. But Stevie, I have a D4 in front of me, and I'm going to roll that, and that's going to determine how many points this is worth for you.
Yeah, what?
I have a
What's a D4?
dice that has 4 sides, so it could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's actually this weird like pyramid looking thing, but You're going to do the same game, except it's going to be worth that many points plus or minus. All right, here we go. It is a 2. So, I'm going to roll for your quote. Got your quote. And Corey, can you play that Streets beat?
All right. If it's too loud, let me know.
All right.
Gotta wait for it. Never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mouth, never clinking.
I'm terrified to answer this. Fuck it. Let's just go with the Streets.
It is a Tolkien quote.
That sounds about right.
Oh, man. Sorry, Stevie.
Tolkien was in his bag with that rhyme right there. That was sick.
It's got to be a Hobbit song.
The rest of it's way more poetic, but I pulled out that little quote that I thought really sounded like the Streets. So we're going to move on to Corey. Corey, I have a D4 and a D6 in front of me. Which one of the two should I roll to see how many points this is worth for you?
Now we're getting risky.
How come he gets a choice?
We all get the choice, Stevie.
He's probably in first place by now.
He's not. What do you think there, Corey?
D4. It's too scary to go D6.
Okay, D4. And you did get the 4.
Oh my
I'm going to roll
god.
for a quote.
I can't piggyback on Stevie this time.
I don't think you'd want to.
Okay, I got the quote. I'm going to roll for that music. Jordan, play some straights. One day I'll have a child, and that child will say to me, Dad, what was war? That was a bad one. Sorry, guys. Tough. That was tough.
Your Tolkien and your Skinner
What was
accents are
war?
very close.
War.
What was war?
It's the word war, just for those listening. Different countries. Singapore. What you think there, Stevie?
Corey.
Or
Yeah, what do you think,
Corey,
Stevie?
sorry, Corey.
Corey can't copy Stevie this time. That's the whole point.
I just don't see how that fits in Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to have to say the Streets.
Tolkien.
That is from the song Battle of the Sexes by Mike Skinner of the Streets. Huge string.
Nice.
Or huge points for you. Nice.
Yes. So I'm above Stevie?
Oh, yeah.
Did Stevie not lose 2 points? This is a different game.
He did lose 2 points.
I lost like 3 points tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised Corey wasn't ahead already. I thought he was only 3 points
Wait,
down.
was first round negative as well,
Yes.
or just 0?
He
if you
said
had it?
negative.
Negative
Oh,
1.
boy.
Yeah.
I've been still keeping track of this okay, actually, so...
Okay. Yeah, I've got it still,
Corey's
too.
+5 right now.
He is 19.
Brett, you're up. And Brett, I have...
What do I have?
a
Jode?
Oh.
You were at 11 to start the round. I got you at -1, so 10 overall.
And Brett, for you, I have a D4, a D6, and a D8 that I would like you to choose which I should roll for this.
Oh my god, what's Mikey have? How many points does Mikey have?
3 right now.
Oh no, if I missed.
Go big.
Give me the 6.
Big or go home.
Give me the
Give you
6.
the 6, okay. Rolling it. It's a 5.
Oh man. Whoever's chewing ice into the can you not do that, please?
I'll do whatever I
I'm
please,
rolling
Brett.
for the quote. Rolled for the quote. Stay focused. Okay. I have the quote, and it's in the Northern Indiana accent. Is that lucky for you, Brett? I don't know what you prefer here.
Yeah, I think so.
If it's in a Northern Indiana accent, you should have like the Martin Supermarket theme in the background.
Well, for next time, once we get the soundboard or something figured out, audio-wise, for sure.
Okay. Fair enough.
Here is your quote, Brett. Slay warriors in the forests, and on higher we sing, the war's over, the bells ring.
Ah man, I'm going to say Tolkien.
That's from the song "Turn the Page" by Mike Skinner. It's
Gosh,
negative
dang.
5
Holy
points,
shit.
boys.
Damn.
boy.
Lord.
Jordan, we're moving on to you. I got a
This game is
Give me the
chaos.
highest D you got.
D4, a D6, a D8, and a D10 for you, buddy boy.
Oh my god.
Give me D10.
All right, D10. Huge roll for Jordan. Huge roll.
I'm screwed.
That is a 9.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Oh
my
How many points does Joe have right now?
10. Rolling
Risk.
for quote. I do have the quote. Okay. And here we go with another Northern Indiana accent, as dull as that may be. Here's the quote. I cordially dislike allegory in all its manifestations.
Oh, God damn, are you shitting me? I've known every one of these except for my two. Man, 9 is a lot of points. Fuck me. That must be Tolkien.
Skinner.
Tolkien wrote these words in his foreword to the second edition in October 1966. Great
Let's go.
guess,
Oh
Jordan.
my god.
Pappy, I have a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12 at your disposal.
Risk.
Give me the D.
Dirty
give me the
dozen.
D12.
Dirty dozen.
30 dozen.
Hey,
The dirty does.
it's a 3.
Well, that's anticlimactic.
Sure. Let me roll for
Pap's got how many points?
Not many.
Pab has 7.
Okay, so he's ahead of me.
Respectable 7.
and Corey, can you play that Skinner beat?
As loud as you can.
Here we go.
God.
Crank it.
Some called for ale, some called for porter, and one for coffee.
The streets.
Is mine too
streets.
loud?
The streets?
That is from Tolkien's writings. It's a -3 for Pat.
The music got to me. I was too into it.
Mikey, I got a D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, and a D20 all sitting here.
Oh my gosh.
Do it. Do it, Mikey.
What's the? I have nothing to lose. D20. Fuck it.
Funny if it's a 1.
So he's gonna get the fucking PlayStation's quote again.
Yeah.
It's the highest number of the day, boys. It's a 13.
Oh,
Oh, lucky 13.
Yes.
We roll
What
for a
could
quote.
go wrong?
That one was taken. Okay. Oh, sorry. I got to roll the other one. And that would be who had the first music? Is it Pappy? Let's go going all the way back to Pappy.
Me.
The Shire.
Closing strong. Is that okay?
Can't really hear it.
Whoa!
There it is. Hey.
There.
And he took her in a cot.
What? Come on. That was unintelligible.
Hold on a second. I didn't finish. Not at all. That's not how it goes.
It was like right in the middle of orgasm.
And he took her in his arms and kissed her under the sunlit sky. And he cared not that they stood high.
That is not a Mike Skinner line. That is Tolkien. That has to be Tolkien. If it's not Tolkien, I'm going to be shocked.
I really thought that one might get you because it rhymed based on your theory from earlier, but that is Tolkien.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's the easiest one since PlayStation.
one of the quotes in here, since I don't think we're gonna do this again this series, at least.
Thank
One of
Christ.
one of the quotes on here is just quote, "I just completed Gran Turismo on the hardest setting," and I really hope someone would pick that one, but they didn't. Anyway, great game, guys. Sorry for the audio hookups, my bad. And I'm not gonna go through who's all like winning and losing at this point. It's very topsy-turvy to say the least. But I will say this.
I know who's bottom two.
There's going to be a lot of points flying around later. If you're in the lead, don't despair. Or if you were in the lead and now aren't, don't despair. And if you find yourself towards the front of the pack, I wouldn't get too cocky. Back to you, Pat.
And if you do despair, Stevie, Josh will scream at you.
I mean, I think the other thing we can say after such a short episode is tune in next time for more Lord of the Rings. Take it away, spoiler man.
Special thank you to our patrons: Matt Troll, Brother Brian, Druid King, Nick, The Meg, David, Nurse Stacy. If you'd like to request an episode, hear your name read by Spoiler Man, or even just help us make podcasts, please check us out on patreon.com/spoilerspodcast.
Hey, man! Take your Eowyn down the left flank! Gamling, follow the King's banner down the center. Grimmauld, take your company right after you pass the wall. Forth, and fear no darkness! Arise! Arise, riders of Theoden! Spears shall be shaken! Shields shall be splintered! A sword day! A red day! Ere the sun rises!
That was Spoilers.